Hello students, this is Aniket. Welcome back to IGCSE Fingertips. Today we are going to solve 0580 42FM22. Let's get started. Question number 1. A company employed 300 workers when it started and now employs 852 workers. Calculate the percentage increase in the number of workers. So we know percentage increase is change in value upon original value into 100. So the change is 852 minus 300 upon original value into 100, right? The zeros will get cancelled. So we have 852 minus 300 divided by 3. So 184% is the percentage increase. Of the 852 workers, the ratio of part-time is to full-time is 5:7. Calculate the number of full-time workers. It's very easy. 7 by 12 into 852. So we have 7 by 12 into 852, which is 497, right? Part C, the company makes 40,600 headphones in 1 year. Write these numbers in words. Okay, it is 40,000 and 600. 40,000 and 600. Write this in standard form. Okay, so in standard form it is going to be 4.06 into 10 raised to 1, 2, 3, 4 into 10 raised to 4. Right? Next. In 1 month, the company sells 3,000 headphones. Okay. Of this, 48% are exported. 3/8 are sold to shops and the rest are sold online. Calculate the number of headphones which are sold online. So we have been given that 48 are exported. So 48% of 3,000. So let me find out 3,000 into 0.48. This is 1440. Right. So this many headphones are exported. 3/8 are sold to shop. So 3/8 of 3,000. So we have 3/8 of 3,000, which is 1125. Now this much are sold to shop and the rest are sold online. So the remaining is 3,000 minus 1440 plus 1125. So plus 111440 minus 3,000. So 535 are sold online. Next question. 1 year the sales is increased by 15%. The following year the sale is increased by 18%. Calculate the overall percentage change in sales. So 1 year the sale is increased by 15%. So let's assume the initial price is of $100. Let's say the initial price is $100, right? So now 1 year the sale is increased by 15%. So 15% of 100 is obviously $15. So the new price after 15% increase is going to be 150. Now there is a further increase of 18%, right? So we are going to increase 18%, which is, let us multiply 115 into by 1.18. So we get 135.7. So the overall percentage change. So initially our value was 100. Now it is 135.7. So the overall percentage change is change in value, which is 35.7 upon original value into 100. So the final answer is 35.7%. Next. Okay. The table shows some value which are rounded off to, the values are rounded off to 1 decimal place. Okay. Complete the table. Okay. So let us complete the table first. We have 0.75 square minus 1 upon 3 times of minus 0.75. Okay. So the answer is 1.00006, but I'll write it as 1 because 1 decimal place. Now same way I have 0.5 and here also I have 0.5. The answer is 0.911. The answer is 0.916. So as I have to round off up to one decimal place, so my answer is going to be 0.9. Right? Next, on the grid, draw the graph. Okay, the graph of y is equals to x square minus 1 upon 3x for x greater than 0. For x greater than 0 is already drawn. We are supposed to draw the graph when x lies between minus 2 to 0.1. See, I have drawn the graph for you guys. This is how the graphs look like. I have drawn the graph, I have plotted the points, and I have joined it using freehand. Next question. By drawing a suitable line on the grid, solve the equation x square minus 1 upon 3x plus 1 equals to 0. Okay. See, we already know that y is equals to x square minus 1 upon 3x. Right. So instead of this, I can write this as y plus 1 equals to 0. So I have y equals to minus 1. Now what will I do? I draw a line which is y equals to minus 1. See, this is where the line is intersecting the curve. So the value of x here is, I think this is each unit. I think, see, there are, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 20 units between 0 and 1. So each unit is representing, I think, 0.05. I think this is 0.05. This is 0.25. 0.1. You have 0.2. This is 0.3. Okay. So 0.3. 0.3 is your answer. X is 0.3. Next question. Find g of f of 3. Find g of f of 3. So for that, first let us find f of 3. F of 3 is 1 plus 4 times of 3, which is 1 plus 12, 13. Now let us find g of 13. So we have 13 square, which is 169. Next, find g of f of g of x. So let us substitute the value of g of x into f of x. So we'll have 1 plus 4 times of x square. So 1 plus 4x square. Next, find f of f inverse of x. We know f inverse of f of x is the same number, right? The same number in the bracket. So x. Had they asked something like this, f inverse of f of 5. So the answer would be 5. Now we don't need to do f inverse. Let's don't need to do that. It's only a 1 mark question. Next, find the value of x when f of x is 15. What is my f of x? 1 plus 4x. So I have 1 plus 4x equals to 15. So I have 4x equals to 14, x equals to 14 by 4. And I think 7, 2, this is going to be 3.5. My x is 3.5. Next question. In triangle ABC, we have ABS 45 centimeter, ACS 29.5 centimeter, BCS 35.3 centimeter, and angle CAB as 51.6 centimeter. Okay. Calculate the angle ABC. We are supposed to find angle ABC. Okay. So we can use sine tool here. We know sine A by A is equals to sine B by B is equals to sine B by C, sine C by C. So now sine A. Now A is the side and this capital A is the angle opposite to this side. So we have sine 51.6 upon 35.3 is equals to sine of angle ABC. I am writing angle ABC as x. Sine x upon 29.5. Okay. So now from here I can write sine x is equals to 29.5 into sine 51.6 divided by 35.3, and my x is going to be sine inverse of this calculation. So let me do this. Sine inverse of 29.5 into sine 51.6 upon 35.3. So the angle is 40.91. So I'll write it as 40.9. Right. Next, calculate the area of triangle ABC. Okay. Area of triangle ABC. So we know ABC is a non-right angle triangle. So its area can easily be, we can easily find the area with the formula of half AB sin C. Half AB sin C. So let's say this is my half AB sin C, where A and B are two adjacent sides and C is the angle between the two sides. So let's say this is my A, this is B, and this is my C. So half 29.5, half 29.5 into 45 into sine C, which is 51.6. So half 29.5 into 45 into sine 51.6. So the area is 520.17. The answer is 520.17. So I am writing it as 520.2. Even 520 would do, because we are supposed to give our answers up to 3 sig fig. Next question. The diagram shows quadrilateral PQRS formed by two triangles. Okay. Triangle PQS is isosceles triangle. Okay. With PQ and PS equals to 32 centimeter. And angle SPQ is equals to 56. Okay. QR is equals to 47. SQR is equals to 60. Find SR. We are supposed to find this side SR. Right. Now what we have been given? We have been given that this is an isosceles triangle. So it means these two sides are equal. Then angles opposite to these sides are also going to be equal. First let us find this angle. So we have 180 minus 56 divided by 2. Right, because both the angles are equal. Minus 56 divided by 2. So each angle is of 62 degree. Each angle is 62 degree. Now I am supposed to find this SR, and we know this is a non-right angle triangle. So we'll either have to apply sine rule or we'll have to apply cos rule. Now how to identify which to apply? Right. Let's say I have this angle. Do I have this side? No, I don't have this side. Because I am supposed to find this side. Right. I have this side. Do I have angle opposite to this side? No, I don't. Is there any way to find it? No. Right now we don't have any way. So I don't think sine rule would be applicable here. So now let us try to solve this using cos rule. Cos rule says a square equals to b square plus c square minus 2bc cos theta, where a, b, c are the sides. Now what I am supposed to find? I am supposed to find SR. So let my SR is A. Do I have B? Let's say this is B. Do I have C? No, I don't have C. But can I find C? Yes, I can. Because in this triangle, I can apply sine rule and I can find C. So first, let us find out C. Right, first let us find out C. So I am doing this calculation on the left hand side because there is very less space here. So you have sine, let's say I am supposed to find this side SQ. So sine 56 upon SQ is equals to sine 62 upon 32. So you have SQ as sine 56 into 32 upon sine 62. So 32 into sine 56 divided by sine divided by sine 62. Just a second, guys. Yes. So the answer is 30.04. So SQ is 30.04. This is my SQ. Now I'll apply cos rule. A square equals to B square, which is 47 square plus C square minus 2 B C into cos theta. Let me do this calculation. 47 square plus 30.04 square minus 2 times of 47 into 30.04 into cos 60. You have the final answer of A square is 1699.52. So root of this will give me A. So the final answer is 41.22. So 41.2. Root of this will give me A. Root of this. Let me just take under root here. Under root will give you A. Next question. Calculate the shortest distance from P to SQ. Calculate the shortest distance from P to SQ. So the shortest distance is always a straight line, right? So we are supposed to find the shortest distance from P to SQ. Let's say this is my shortest distance, and this side, this point is X, where it is intersecting the side SQ. So this angle is going to be 90 degree, right? I have this angle 62. I also have this triangle. I also have this side 32. Let me redraw this triangle PSX. So this is what the triangle looks like. PSX. This is 90. This is 62. And I have this side as 32 centimeter. Let me check. Is it 32 or something else? No, it's 32. So I'm supposed to find PX. Easy. We'll use, SOHCAHTOA. Let us use, we have this angle, we are supposed to find opposite. And we also have hypotenuse. So we'll use sine theta. So sine 62 is equals to opposite upon hypotenuse. So PX is 32 times sine 62. So 32 times sine 62. It's 28.25. The answer is 28.25. So I'm writing this as 28.3 centimeter. Let's move to the next question. Question 5. The table shows information about the mass m grams of each of 120 letters. Okay. Find the mean mass. Pretty easy. Mean mass is mid values sigma f of x upon sigma f. Sigma means summation. So we'll need to have the mid values first. Mid value is 0 plus 50 divided by 2 is 25. So 25 times 43 plus this is mid value is 75 times 31 plus 150 times 25 plus 350 times 21 divided by 120. Let me do this, guys. 25 into 14, sorry, not 14, 25 times 43 plus 75 into 31 plus 150 into 25 plus 350 into 21. So the total is 14500 divided by 120. 120.888333. So I'm writing this as 120.8 grams. Iraj draws a histogram to show this information. He makes the height of the first bar 17.2 centimeter. calculate the height of each of the remaining bar. So for the first graph, he is making the height as 17.2 centimeter. Right. Now he is drawing a histogram. So for histogram, what do we need? We need to find the frequency density. We need to find frequency density. And what is frequency density? It is nothing but frequency upon class width. Right. So for the first bar, what is the frequency? The frequency is 43. And what is the class width? The class width is 50. Class width means upper value of the class minus the lower value. So for the first bar, you have your FD as frequency, which is 43 upon class width, which is 50. So 43 upon 50 is 0.86. So the frequency density is 0.86, but the height which we are using is 17.2, which means we would have used some scale. Now what is the scale factor here? What is the scale here? Let me just find it out. Let us divide 17.2 divide by 0.86. So 17.2 divided by 0.86 gives 20. So what we are doing, whatever the frequency density we get, we multiply it with 20 and we'll get the height. Right. So let us find out frequency density for the rest of the graphs or the rest of the bar. So now we have frequency 31, class width is 50. So for next we have frequency density for second bar is 31 upon 50. So 31 upon 50, and we are also supposed to, which is I think 0.62, and we are supposed to multiply this with 20. So 12.4 is the height for second graph. Now let us find out frequency density for the third bar. Frequency is 25, class width is 100. Yes. So 25 upon 100. This is my frequency density, and I have to multiply this with 20. So I think this is pretty easy. 5. The width is going to be of 5 centimeter. Now let us do for the last graph. Frequency density for the fourth bar. The frequency is 21, class width is 300. Frequency is 21, class width is 300, and at last we'll multiply this with 20. Here also 20. So 21 into 20 divided by 300. So this is 1.4 centimeter, right? Next question. Complete the cumulative frequency table. Okay, so we are supposed to complete the cumulative frequency table. So mass less than 50. I think the frequency is 43. Right? For mass less than 100, we'll have to add 43 plus 31. So 43 plus 31 is going to be 74. Next, you have less than 200. I think the frequency is 25. So 74 plus 25, which is 99, and at last you have the last frequency is 21. So 99 plus 21 is 120. Right? So this is the frequency density. Sorry, not frequency density, cumulative frequency. Part D. Draw cumulative frequency diagram. See guys, I have drawn this cumulative frequency curve. This is what the diagram looks like. At 50 you have 43, at 100 you have 74, at 200 you have 99, and at 500 you have 120. Right? Next question. Use the cumulative frequency diagram to find estimate for the median. Now median means mid value. Mid value here is 60. Right? So at 60 you have the line is crossing somewhere over here. Right? So this is, let me check. This is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 and 80. This is somewhere between 70 and 80. So I am writing the median as 75. Next, find the upper quartile. Upper quartile means 75th percentile of 120. I think that should be 90. So at 90 you have somewhere over here. I think this is between 100 and 120. So 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160. So my upper quartile is 160. 40th percentile. 40th percentile means 0.40 into 120. This should be 48. Right. So at 48, just below 50, you have between 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. Between 50 and 60. So I am writing, let me just once again reconfirm, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Yes, between 50 and 60. So I am writing the 40th percentile as 55. Next, find the number of letters with the mass m, where m lies between 250 and 400. Okay. So number of letters between 250 and 400, pretty easy. Let us mark 250 first. So when at 250, right, see my graph is at 250, this is 250, right, you can see my graph is here. So I think it is at 120, right, this value is 120, and at 400 my graph is at slightly above this point. So this is, just a second, this is not 120, my mistake. Each unit is of, each line is of 2 units. So this is 104, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yes, this is 104, and this is 106, 108, 110, 112, 114, and this is between 114 and 116. So I am writing this as 150. Just, yes. So number of students, or the number of mass between 250 and 400 is 115 minus 104, which is 11. Number of letters, not number of students. 115 minus 104, which is 11. So number of letters between mass 250 and 400 is 11. Next, the interior angle of a regular polygon is 156. Find the number of sides of this polygon. Okay, so we know that each interior angle is given by the formula n minus 2 into 180 upon n. Now this interior angle is 156. You can solve by this method, or you know that interior angle plus exterior angle adds up to 180. So if this is 156, my exterior angle is going to be 180 minus 156, which is 24 degree. And the sum of each exterior angle, sum of all exterior angles is 360. So each side, or n, is given by 360 upon 24, or 360 upon each exterior angle, which is 15. Next, A, B and C lie on a circle with center O. Angle OBA is 52. Find angle ACB. Okay, I am supposed to find this angle. Okay. Now I know OA and OB are going to be equal because they are radius. So if this is 52, this is also going to be 52. And angle AOB is going to be 180 minus 52 plus 52. So 180 minus 104, which is 76. Now if angle at the center is 76, then angle at the circumference is going to be half of that. So half of 76 is 38, right? Because from AB you have arc AB, from arc AB you have center, and from arc AB you also have segment formed at the circumference. Next question. PQRS and T lie on a circle WSR is a straight line with WSP as 112 degree. Find angle PTR. I am supposed to find this angle PTR. Okay, supposed to find this angle. Okay, so if this is 112, so 180 minus 112 is 68. This is going to be 68, right? 180 minus 112, this is going to be 68. Right, now do I have anything? I think from this arc PQ, see, you have this so now as you can see, this PR forms a segment PSR and it also forms a segment PTR, right? And we know angles in the segment are same. So if this is 68, angle PTR is also going to be 68. Next, GK and M lies on a circle with center O. FGH is a tangent to the circle where MG is parallel to OH. Okay. Show that the triangles are mathematically similar. Give a geometrical reason for each statement you make. Okay. So we are supposed to show that the triangles are similar. So how to prove similarity? If two angles are same of a triangle, then the triangles are said to be similar. Okay. So we know if this is tangent, then this is going to be 90 degree. And this is a triangle inside a semicircle. So this is also going to be 90 degree. So let me write this. Angle KMG equals to angle OGH equals to 90 degree. Right? For reason you can write angle KMG is angle inside a semicircle, or you can write triangle inside a semicircle, and OGH is tangent. It is already given, so you don't need to write the reason, right? Then I think you have these two sides are parallel, so OG becomes the transversal. So from here I can say angle OMGO is equals to angle GOH. They are known as alternate interior angles. This is forming a Z. So now we have two sides are same. Sorry, two angles are same. So obviously now this third angle MKG, now angle MKG is equals to angle GHO. How? By angle sum property, right? So therefore I can say, therefore triangle GKM is similar to triangle OHG by AA congruency, or else you can write AAA congruency. Next, two rectangular pictures of a frame are mathematically similar. The areas of the frame are this and this. The width of the smaller frame is 17.5. Find the width of the larger frame. So we know as they are mathematically similar, so they will be divided in a fixed ratio. So I can write the area of larger frame upon area of smaller frame is equals to width of larger frame upon width of smaller frame. But this won't do. Why? Because the units here are centimeter square and here the unit is centimeter. So we need to make the unit same. So what I'll do? I'll take square root of this, right? So obviously my x is going to be 17.5 into square root of 1134 upon 350. So let me do that. 17.5 into square root of 1134 upon 350. 63.2, which is 31.5. Next, a picture in a smaller flame has length 15 centimeter and width 10.5 centimeter, both correct to nearest 5 mm. Nearest 5 mm means 5 divided by 2, which is 2.5 mm. Now in order to make it into cm, this is going to be 0.25 cm, because 1 centimeter is 10 mm. Find the upper bound of area. Upper bound of area is going to be length into breadth. So length is going to be 15 plus 0.25 and my breadth is going to be 10.5 plus 0.25. So which is 15.25 into 10.75. 15.25 into 10.75, which is 163.9375. Guys, always write the complete answer in case of bounds. Also, you can refer to this I button wherein I have covered the in-depth concepts of accuracy and bounds. Next, in a sale, the price of a large frame is reduced by 18%. Parthi pays $166.05 for 5 large frames. Okay, calculate the original price. Okay, so had the original price been 100, in the sale the price was reduced by 18%. So 18% of 100 is obviously 18. So the new price is going to be 100 minus 18. So the reduced price is going to be of $82. Now Parthi paid $166.05. This was her reduced price. So the original price for Parthi is going to be 166.05 into 100 divided by 82. 166.05 into 100 divided by 82. So the original price for Parthi is going to be 202.50. Now this is the price for 5 large frame, right? This is the price for 5 large frame. So each frame would cost, divide by 5, which is $40.50. Each frame would cost $40.50. Next, Parthi advertises a logo frame for a price of $57 or 48.20 euros. The exchange rate is given. Calculate the difference between the prices in dollars and cents, correct to nearest cents. Okay, so 57, we have to give the difference in dollars and cents. Okay, so let us convert these euros into cents first. So we know $1 is 0.88 euros. So 48.20 euros is going to be 48.20 divided by 0.88. So 48.20 divided by 0.88 is 54.7727. Now as we are supposed to find out the difference, so let us subtract 54.27 from 57. So 57 minus 54.7727. So 57 minus answer, it is 2.2272. The answer is 2.2272. But we are supposed to give our answer to correct to nearest cent. So the nearest cent is going to be 2.23 cents, right? 2.23 cents. Let's move to the next question. 8. Darpan runs a distance of 12 km and then cycles a distance of 26 kilometers. His running speed is x and his cycling speed is 10 km per hour faster than his running speed. Okay, he takes a total time of 2 hours and 48 minutes. An expression for the time in hours for Darpan take to run is 12 by x. Write an equation for the total time he takes in hours. So the total time is obviously going to be the time of running and the time of cycling. So we know speed is distance upon time and time is distance upon speed. So the time taken for running is 12 by x. The time taken for cycling is 26 upon x plus 10. Right. Now this is equals to 2 hours and 48 minutes. So we'll have to convert this 48 minutes into hours, which is 48 divided by 60, which is 48 divided by 60, which is 4 by 5. Right, 4 by 5. So 2 hours, let me put into decimal, this is 2.8. 2 plus 0.8. So 2.8 hours. So this is my equation. In fact, you can also write 2.8 into decimal value, which is, you can write 2.8 or you can write 14 by 5, whichever you like it. Right, I am writing it as 14 by 5. Next, show that this simplifies to. Okay, so we are supposed to simplify this. Let us take LCM. 12 times of x plus 10 plus 26x upon x into x plus 10 equals to 14 by 5. So you have 12x plus 120 plus 26x upon x square plus 10x is equals to 14 by 5. Now doing cross multiplication, you have 12x plus 60x plus 120 into 5. I think this should be 600. Yes, 600 plus 26 5, this should be 130 plus 130x equals to 14x square plus 140x. Now bringing everything on the right hand side, we have 14x square plus 140x minus 60x minus 130x minus 600 equals to 0. So from here I can write 14x square 140 minus 60 is 80, 80 minus 130 is minus 50. Okay, so minus 50x minus 600 equals to 0. Taking 2 common, I can write 7x square minus 25x minus 300 equals to 0. Right? Next, use the quadratic formula to solve the equation. Okay, we know the quadratic formula is minus b plus or minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. My a is 7, b is minus 25 and c is minus 300. So minus of minus 25, which is 25, plus or minus b square minus 4 a into c upon 2a. So we have 25 plus or minus root 25 square plus 4 into 7 into 300, 9025 upon 14. So my one answer is obviously going to be 25 plus under root 9025 upon 14, and my second answer is going to be 25 minus under root 9025 upon 14. So 25 plus root 9025 upon answer divided by 14. Just a second guys, 25 plus root 9025 divided by 14. This is 8.57 and second answer is 25 minus root 9025 divided by 14. This is minus 5. Right. Calculate the number of minutes darpan takes to run the distance 12. Okay, so number of the time taken for the darpan for Darpan to run 12 kilometer is 12 by x. Now obviously we cannot place this negative value because time cannot be negative. 12 divided by 8.57. So 12 divided by 8.57 is 1.400 hours. Now we are supposed to give the answer in minutes. So let us multiply this with 60. So the answer is 84.01, which is 84 minutes. Right? Next question. 9. The volume of a paper cone of radius 2.4 centimeter is 95.4 centimeter cube. The paper is cut along the slant height from O to AB. Okay, so this is how the paper is cut. The cone is opened to form a sector OAB with center O. Okay, calculate the sector angle X. So guys, now what happens is this cone is cut and opened in the form of a sector. So this slant height of this sector, of this cone becomes radius for this sector, right? And just a second guys, yes, let me find my calculator. And this base circumference of this base becomes the arc length for this sector. Circumference of cone becomes arc length for this sector. Yes, and if we are supposed to find theta, which means the angle, then we know the formula is theta upon 360 into 2 pi into radius should be equals to this circumference, which is 2 into pi times 2.4. But guys, the problem is we don't have the value of r, neither do we have the value of x. But can we find r? Yes, we can. How? We know the volume is 95.4 centimeter cube. So we know volume is equals to 1 by 3 pi r square h. Let us use that formula. So we have 95.4 is equals to 1 by 3 times pi times radius square into h. So from here I can find my h is going to be 95.4 into 3 divided by pi into 2.4 square, which is, let me calculate it, 95.4 into 3 95.4 into 3 divided by pi into 2.4 square. So the height is 15.816, or let me write it as 15.82. Right, this is the height. Now can I apply Pythagoras theorem? Yes, I can, because I am supposed to find this radius r. So this is my height, this is the radius. So let us find out slant height using Pythagoras theorem. I am doing it here. So my slant height or my radius of the sector r is going to be under root 15.82 square plus 2.4 square. So my radius is 15 square plus 2.4 square, and under root of that is going to give me 15.99. My value of radius is 15.99, or I could use my radius as 60. Right? Now let me substitute the value of radius or the value of r in this equation. So now I have x upon 360 into 16 is equals to 2.4. So my x is 2.4 into 360 divided by 16. So 2.4 into 360 divided by 16, which is 54. So my angle x is 54 degree, right? So guys, what did we do? We first we had to find angle x, right? So we know theta upon 360 into 2 pi r is going to be this circumference of this cone, which is 2 pi r, right? But we didn't know the radius. So we tried to find out radius using the volume. From volume, we found out height. Using the height, we found out this length height L. Now this length height L becomes radius of this sector. So I substituted the value of r in this equation and I got out the value of x. Right? Next question. An empty fuel tank is filled using a cylindrical pipe with diameter 8 centimeter. Okay. Fuel flows along the pipe at a rate of 2 meters per second. Okay. It takes 24 minutes to fill the tank. Calculate the capacity of the tank. There is a cylindrical pipe which has a diameter of 8 centimeter. So the radius is going to be obviously 4 centimeter. Right. Now it takes 2 meters per second. The fuel is flowing at a rate of 2 meters per second. So let's say this is 8 centimeter. Right. So in 1 second, you can see the height is increased by 2 meters, right? So can I find out the volume of fuel in 1 second? Yes. Base area, which is pi r square, pi into 4 square into h. Height is 2 meters, but radius is in centimeters. So we'll convert it into centimeter. That is 200 centimeter, right? So in 1 second, this much volume flows, and it is given that it takes 24 minutes to fill the tank. So in 24 minutes, which is technically 24 into 60 seconds, right? The volume of fuel is going to be 24 into 60 into pi into 4 square into 200. So 24 into 60 into pi into 16 into 200, which is 1447645 cm cube. But we are supposed to give our answer in liters, and we know 1 centimeter cube is 1 ml. So this many centimeter cube is equals to this many ml. Now let us divide this by 1000 to get our answer in liters. So we have 14476.45. So I'll write 14476 liters. Right? Next question. Expand and simplify. Okay, pretty easy question. Let us first try to expand these two brackets. You have x square minus 2x plus x minus 2 into x plus 3. Right? So I can simplify this: x square minus x minus 2 into x plus 3. Now let us multiply x with this term and then 3 with this term. So here we have x cube minus x square minus 2x plus 3x square minus 3x minus 6. Now let us simplify it. So final answer is going to be x cube minus x square plus 3x square is plus 2x square minus 2x minus 3x is minus 5x minus minus 6. Next, make G the subject of formula. Okay, so you can see there are two G's in this equation. So what we'll do, we'll make sure that all the G's come on one side of the equation. So I can write this as m into G minus C is equals to 2 times of Fg. So mg minus mc is equals to 2 times of Fg. Let us bring Fg here. mg minus 2Fg is equals to mc. So from here I can take G common. So I have m minus 2F is equals to mc. So from here my G is going to be mc over m minus 2F. Right? Next question. Simplify. Okay. So from the numerator, as you can see, I can take 4 and x common. So I have x minus 4. And in denominator I have a square minus b square. X square minus 4 square, sorry, which is a plus b into a minus b. So you have 4x upon x plus 4. Next question. The probability that Shalini is late for school on any day is 1 by 6. Okay. Complete the tree diagram. So the probability that she is late on any day is 1 by 6. So the probability of not being late will be 5 by 6. Same way here, 1 by 6 late, 5 by 6, 1 by 6 and 5 by 6. Next, calculate the probability that Shalini is late on Monday but she is not late on Tuesday. Shalini is late on Monday. She is late on Monday but not late on Tuesday. So you have 1 by 6 into 5 by 6, which is 5 by 36. Let's move to the next question. In the diagram, the Venn diagram shows number of students in a group of 50 who wear glasses, who wear trainers and who have a mobile phone. Okay. Use a set notation to describe the region that contains only one student. As you can see, the one student is in the outer box. So I'll write this as, this is nothing but G union M union T dash. Alright, G union M union T dash. Next, find T dash intersection G union M. So G union M means this whole region. This is my G union M. Right. Now I am supposed to find out its intersection with T dash. So T dash is going to be, obviously this region is going to be my T dash. Right. So now what is common? I think the common portion is where both the colors, yellow and your green color meets. I think this is 19, this is 9. This is common. So 19 plus 9, the answer is 28. Next, one student is picked at random from 50 students. Find the probability that the student wears trainers but not glasses. So the student wears trainer but not glasses. Okay. So yes, trainers 3 plus 2, 5 but not glasses. Wears trainers but not glasses. Sorry, he should not wear glasses. So 3 plus 14, 17 upon 50. Right. So our answer is going to be 17 upon 50. Next question. Two students are picked at random from those wearing trainers. Find the probability that both of them have mobile phone. So I am picking two students from those who wear trainers, right? Who wear trainers. And I am supposed to find out the probability that both of them also have mobile phone. So first of all, how many students wear trainers? I think we have 14 plus 3, 17, 17 plus 2, 19, 19 plus 2, 21. So there are total 21 students who wear trainer. Out of those, how many of them have mobile phone? I think 14 plus 2, 16. So first, let me pick one student. It is going to be 16 upon 21. Now there are only 20 students left who wear trainers, and out of them only 15 have mobile phone. So 16 by 21 into 15 by 20. The answer is 4 by 7. Right? Next question. Solve the equation 10x is equals to 11.3. Okay. So now my x is going to be tan inverse of 11.43, which is tan inverse of 11.43 is 84.99, or I'll simply write it as 85, right? And you know that tan 180 plus theta is equals to tan theta. So tan 85 plus 180, which is 265. So tan 265 is also going to be 11.43. You can Check your answer in your calculator and you'll get the same answer. Next, sketch the curve x cube minus 4x. Okay, so guys, this you should first you should know that what kind of curve is this going to look like, right? This is a cubic curve. So cubic curve is generally in this shape, right? The maximum power is cube, so the curve is going to be this shape. If the maximum power been square or power 2, it would have been a parabola, this or something like this, right? So first we need to identify which kind of curve is this going to be. Obviously, as I said, now this is going to be cubic curve. So for this cubic curve, what are the important points you need? See, let's say this is my graph, right? So what are the important points which I need? Let's say, let me draw it here. Let me draw here. Let's say this is my cubic curve. Now what are the important points here? See, this is my first important point, second important point, and third important point. These 3 points tell me the points where the graph crosses x-axis, and also these are my other 2 points. This tells me these are my stationary points. So first I am supposed to find these 5 points, right? I am supposed to find the value of these 5 points. If I have them, then I am only supposed to join the dots, right? So let us try to find those points first, right? Let us find those points. The equation is x cube minus 4x. Okay, equation is x cube minus 4x. So from here I can take x common. I have x square minus 4. I can write this as x plus 2 and x minus 2. This is my equation. Y is equals to x plus 2, x minus 2. Now see guys, this is the point where the graph crosses x-axis. It means y is 0. So suppose if I place y as 0 here, I'll have 3 values of x. One value of x is going to be 0. The another value is going to be minus 2, and the third value is going to be plus 2. Because you have x equals to 0, x plus 2 equals to 0, and x minus 2 equals to 0, right? So you have 3 values of x. I think we have found out these 3 values. Now we are supposed to find out this stationary points. How to find out stationary points? It's very easy. Stationary points are those points where your dy by dx is 0. So let us find out dy by dx of this equation, which is 3x square minus 4. Now this should be equals to 0, right? This should be equals to 0. So you have 3x square equals to 4 and x square equals to 4 by 3. So technically x is equals to under root 4 by 3 plus or minus, right? So I also have my 2 stationary points. I have my 3 points where the line is crossing the x-axis. So using all these points, I can draw the graph, and see I have drawn it over here. See, this is my first point, minus 2. This is 0. This is plus 2. And these are my stationary points, which was, I think, root 4 by 3, which is 1.15. So one value is going to be obviously plus 1.15, and second value is going to be minus 1.15. So plus 1.15 minus 1.15, and then you simply draw the curve, right? Next question. A curve has the equation y is equals to x cube plus ax plus b. Okay, the coordinates of the stationary points have coordinates 2 comma k, minus 2 comma 10 minus k. Work out the value of a, b and k. Okay, so we have curve with this equation. We also know the stationary points, which is dy by dx. So first let us find out dy by dx. dy by dx is 3x square plus a, right? Because we know dx differentiation of x power n is, differentiation of x power n is n into x power n minus 1 dy by dx, yes, right? So this is going to be 3x square plus a. Now stationary points. So now this is 3x square plus a equals to 0, right? We also have the coordinates of stationary points. So one, we have the stationary point when our x is 2. So let me substitute here. 3 into 2 square plus a equals to 0. 2 square is 4, 4 3s are 12. So I have a as minus 12. Even if I would have substituted minus 2, it would have come the same value, because square of minus 2 is once again 4. So I have one value, which is a is minus 12. Okay. So do I have any other values? Yes, I think I have. I think I have the coordinates, right? So let me substitute this coordinate over here. So I have y is equals to x cube. So 2 cube plus ax, but my a is minus 12 times x. Sorry, my y is going to be k plus b. So k equals to 8, sorry, ax. So you also have to multiply this with x, which is 2. Let me just rewrite this equation. Y is equals to x cube plus ax plus b. So y is equals to 8 minus 24 plus b. So if I bring b over here, k minus b is equals to minus 16. This is my one equation. Now let us substitute minus 2 also. Right, let us substitute minus 2 in the same equation. For minus 2 you have y is 10 minus k. So 10 minus k is equals to minus 2 cube plus minus 12 into minus 2 plus b. So you have 10 minus k is equals to minus 8 plus 24 plus b. Let me bring b over here. Minus k minus b is equals to minus 8 plus 24. I think it should be 16, but still let me check. Yes, it is 16. And from here plus 10 will go to the right hand side, minus 10. So we have minus k minus b is equals to 6. I think these are my two simultaneous equations, right? So first is k minus b is equals to minus 16, and second is minus k minus b equals to 6. Let me, yes, minus k minus b is 6. So now you can simply add those equations. So you have minus 2b is equals to minus 10, b is equals to 5. So once you have b, simply substitute the value of b. K minus 5 is equals to minus 16. K is equals to minus 16 plus 5, which is minus 11. So I have k as minus 11. My a is minus 12, b is 5, and k is minus 11. I think with this, yes, we have completed the paper. Hope you have enjoyed it. Kindly share our channel, like our channel, subscribe, and stay tuned for our regular videos. Bye bye.